What's up everybody, Sean Krames here at Scratch DJ Academy. We're in my studio today to talk about how to make 808 hip hop bass lines. So an 808 bass line is typically, you take a 808 drum machine, which is a drum machine from the 80s. You've heard it, it's got a big boom. Oftentimes people will modify it to give it a really long decay. And when you do something like that, you can put it onto a keyboard and then pitch it around and start to make bass lines with it. Now you've probably heard a sound like this in stuff like trap music, things that you've heard in EDM, and also nowadays just in everyday hip hop, pop music. So we're going to show you today how to use a standard synthesizer setup, whether you're in Ableton, whether you're using a synthesizer at home, and how you can get that sound for yourself and adjust the decay to get your boom as loud and as short as you want it. All right, so I'm going to be building my 808 on a Eurorack modular system. Now, it might look kind of daunting to you, but it's very similar to what you could use in VST plugin format in Ableton. It's what you could use if you have a Novation bass station, any typical mono synth. We're only going to be playing one note at a time here. So the standard oscillator, ADSR, is really all you need to make this thing come together and sound like that booming bass that you want in your tracks. So we're going to show you guys how to do it at home on your standard setup. Okay, so what I have is an oscillator here. I have a sine wave coming out of my oscillator, and I've got a trigger over here on my step sequencer. So I'm starting here with a sine wave. I've got my tuning coming in right here, and I've got some FM right here. Now this FM is going to adjust the punch of my kick from something like this, which will have not a lot of punch, to something more like this with a lot of punch. So what I have here is my ADSR. That's attack, decay, sustain, release. Now I have a gate coming over from my sequencer. That's going to trigger the shape of my envelope. That envelope meets with the sine wave at what's called a VCA, voltage controlled amplifier. And what this does is combines your waveform with your envelope. Something like Synth or Massive, they all have these built into the machine. Now with an 808 kick drum, all the magic happens in the ADSR. And it's pretty quick to see how you can get some real big boom going real fast. If you take a look with me, I've got my release here at the bottom of my ADSR. When I keep my release short, I'm going to get a punchy kick. Now if I turn that release up, this is where making your own kick drum rather than using, say, an 808 sample or something is great, because I have essentially an infinite amount of release. Even longer, why not? So you can imagine with control of your release like that, when you start making trap music bass lines and you're pitching them around, they can get really intense and really fun really fast. Check out something like this. Now another great thing about building your own 808 kick drum that you're going to pitch around and use as a bass line is that you have total control of what key it's in. If you have a synthesizer, you tune your synthesizer to the key of your root note that you prefer to use. Or if you're using a VST, they're usually already in tune unless you decide to detune them, for example. Now, when you're using a sequencer as something to control the pitch of your 808 kick drum, what you end up getting is something that reacts just as musical as the notes that you're playing on your keyboard. So you can always keep everything in tune and in key. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I hope you learned something about the 808 kick drums, how to make bass lines with them. If you did, please subscribe to our YouTube page and like our video. Thanks a lot for watching.